Hey everyone, Matt at Triple Act Adventures. I just wanted to thank you guys for all the comments, the likes, the shares on my last few videos. So far, I believe I've released 2 or 3 videos. One just an introduction to my channel. One was top 10 items that you should look for as a beginner overlander. And then my most recent video was a very detailed build walk around video on my truck. I just want to thank you guys. I'm only 3 videos in, and my last video, the build video, I want to say now is already at like 200 views. To be honest, I'm blown away. I know that sounds like nothing, but I never in my wildest dreams would have thought that 200 people would be interested in the vehicle or the video. So I want to thank you guys. But the real reason we're here today is a couple people have asked for detailed more detailed video on the electrical system in the truck, and that is absolutely something I want to do, and we're going to do that today. So we're going to cut here to a video of me looking through the truck, but I wanted to kind of get in front of you guys. I don't want to always be behind the camera, so I'm going to try some different things and do some editing, but yeah, we'll see how this works. Let's cut to the truck though. All right guys, we're out at the truck here, so let's do this dive deep into electrical system on the truck. I have everything kind of opened up, and I may need to move some stuff to show you guys some stuff, so it might be a little awkward at the camera angles, but I really wanted to dive deep into this. So in our last full build detailed video, you guys asked a lot of questions on, you wanted to see more about this electrical system. I think mostly that is due to there not being a lot of room in these vehicles to do large battery systems. And I'm running a 205 amp hour battery, which is pretty large. So let's dive in. Let's go right into the heart of it. So you guys can see actually that these Dobinsons, before I go up there, the Dobinson's drawers go all the way back, almost to where that net is. And there's not a lot of room, specifically between those and the rear seats. So the rear seats here, I have them folded down, and you can see I have an ARB jack that I kind of just strap to those anchor points back there. That kind of just sits up there with some nice straps. It's the only spot I really could find to put it, but anyway. So the battery system is all hidden behind the seats here. I got a tape measure over there so I can show you guys some dimensions too. But starting on the left here, and I'll go into detail, that is the battery pack that I built for the vehicle. That is not something you can buy. It is a DIY project. I learned how to do that from a lot of online research and from a YouTube channel named Will Prowse. I will try to put links in the description on all these parts and his channel as well, because this is really where I learned how to do all this stuff. So anyway, so that is the actual battery itself. And then there is a battery, a BMS they call it, a battery management, that I'm not really gonna be able to show because it's built into that battery box. Next to it, we have some heavy duty, I don't know what you call those, bus terminals, I guess they call those, or bus bars for both the hots. The grounds are down there. This unit you see here is the new Garmin PowerSwitch that I'm testing out, which I will get to here in a minute. And then this is the RedArc Manager 30 brain. So this is the brain to the whole system. As you can see, I mounted some wood against the Dobinson's drawers. There were already screw holes that lined right up, so I just was able to get some longer screws and screw everything in, and then the battery box is mounted to that piece of wood with just some brackets. It is important when you do a battery box that it contains the battery's form, I guess you want to say, so it needs to hold them pretty strong. They will expand and contract with charging and temperature, so it's important everything's tight. I did have plans to either rhino coat this, or honestly I was gonna do some carpet on it. I just never really got to it. It was one of those typical projects where you try to do it right, but you're going on a trip soon, so I tried to get it together real quick, and this is kind of the result. I've never really touched it, but it works amazing. I guess let's go over battery first. Let's go on the other side quick. So the battery I mentioned in my other video is a 205 amp hour lithium ion battery system that I built myself. The cells that you see here are 4 individual cells. They're by, if I'm pronouncing this right, Fortune is the name of the brand. There are other ones out on the market. I really like these because they have these little, let's see if I can get these off. They have these caps that click on, and you can do all of your wiring and everything underneath them, and then these just pop on and kind of just protect it. A lot of them are exposed on the top, so I really like that. That's included right in there. Let's see actually if I can pop off the back ones, because you'll be able to see some of the little bars which are included. This little unit you see here is actually for Bluetooth. But so there's these little bus bars that you need to connect the batteries. You do need to know what you're doing. I want to say that this, I should have looked this up before I did the video. I believe this is in series, not parallel. I believe that's series. So how these batteries come is they are advertised as a 205 amp hour lithium battery, and they are 3.2 volts each. So to get a 12 volt battery pack, you need 4 of these units wired, and again, double check me, but I wire them in series. That will hold the 205 amp hour rating, but will give you the 12 volts. If you wire them in parallel, I believe you stay with 3 volts, but you increase your amp hour, if I remember correctly. I always forget I always reverse that in my head, so I think I might be dyslexic. But anyway, that is the kind of the concept on this. So that will build your actual battery pack itself, but you cannot just charge the battery as it sits. You do, when you buy this, you do need to like load balance it. You need to get everything charged up properly. So there's a whole kit and caboodle on setting this up, doing it yourself. But like I said, Will Prowse on YouTube has all the details on how to do this properly. So the next step on this is you need what's called a BMS, a battery management system. It's going to be very hard to see, but you might be able to see down in here. Yeah, you're not really going to be able to see it. There is like a motherboard down there. That unit is from Overkill Solar. So it comes with all the cables and everything, and it's kind of tucked down there, so it's going to be hard to see. But that you wire up, it has all the instructions. You wire that to the battery itself, and everything gets charged through the battery management system. So the battery management system will do load balancing of the individual cells. It'll monitor charging. It'll auto shut off at certain amp discharges. There is a lot to this, so I don't want to go too far in the weeds, but it'll do like a low voltage cutoff, a high temperature cutoff. It really protects the battery system from causing any kind of issues or fires or anything in the vehicle. So that's huge. You have to have that. So from there, you can see I have some heavy duty cable. So everything back here is all done with 4-gauge cable, which is way overkill. I think the BMS itself is 8-gauge cable, but it's 3 strands on the grounds on each side actually. So the grounds come off the BMS and go down to the RedArc Manager system. Has I forget what they call this. It's like a load manager. So everything is ran through the actual ground. So how do I want to explain this? So the battery grounds go to that load manager, and then the ground goes to your actual chassis ground. So the Manager 30 system over there is monitoring that. That's how it's monitoring your actual battery usage, is through the grounds. So everything you hook up has to be through the RedArc Manager system. Otherwise, it's not going to be actually monitoring it, if that makes sense. For power, I have it set up. It's going to be hard to see. There is, again, without literally taking the seats out of the car, it's going to be hard to show you guys. There is, the red cable goes down there. There is a large disconnect. So I have, I want to say it's a 100 amp disconnect. Maybe it's 50. It might be a 50 amp disconnect, but there's a actual circuit breaker down there that you can turn off this battery if you ever needed to. I always think it's a smart idea to fuse everything correctly, use disconnects, all that kind of stuff. I personally prefer breakers just because you can reset them and do diagnostics a lot easier than you would with some sort of fuse. But yeah, so that's really the battery system, guys. It's homemade. That's how I got 205 amp hours into this vehicle. As you can see, there's almost little room. So that side of the seat actually sits back farther. The rear seats of a GX460 can, what do you want to call it, slide back and forth. So this side is actually a little bit more forward than the other side. And that has allowed me to fit, this is about it's about 15 inches, including the box, is 6 by 15 inches. And if you look on the market, there is no 205 amp hour battery system on the market that is going to fit that. So that is why I built this system. Let's go on the other side quick here. That battery system has been insane. Like I mentioned before, it allows me to do between 3 and 4 days typically without any kind of intervention. The last video in my build, it was showing 1 day on my BMS. I don't know why. Like, let's see what it says right now, actually. 96% in 6 days till flat. Granted, right now, I don't think the fridge is actually running. There's not much like, well, it's on, it's just not running, if that makes sense. The actual compressor's not on. So again, typically I'm getting 3 to 4 days. How this system works is it gives you an estimate based on the current usage. So when nothing is running, like literally nothing is running, this thing will tell you like, 12, 15 days or something. If you turn on everything, it will live time tell you how long you have until everything goes flat if you run it as current. So it's kind of cool, but it can be a little misleading sometimes depending on what you have going, if that makes sense. Let's get back to the battery though. So the battery, the grounds and all the ground bus bars, so off of the actual chassis ground, ties into these bus bars. So everything that is on this vehicle outside of, so literally everything, the lights, everything that I will show you guys here is ran off of this rear system. The only things that run on the factory battery are obviously the factory vehicle. The only aftermarket accessories that run on it are the ARB compressor and my winch. Everything else runs off the secondary battery system. I wanted it isolated. I didn't want the factory system to be hampered or tapped into for any aftermarket accessories. Oh, I should note the remote start is on the factory system too, but that just made sense to do that. But yeah, so everything is tied into these terminals. So everything goes through these blocks. Everything, if it is on some sort of circuit, it is fused. I will get to the hidden fuse panel here in a minute, but everything is on switches or fuses, which brings up this new Garmin switch unit. So in my build video that I did, I showed you guys the Switch Pros, but I did not show you this Garmin switch unit. This is actually brand new to me. I just got that Garmin and I just got this switch. I'm currently only running 2 circuits, which you can see are on right now. One of those is the fridge, and one is the 12 volt remote fuse panel. So you can see they're both live. There are actually buttons on this unit that you can press and test circuits if you wanted to. It also gives you a visual indicator that it's working. How that system works is you wire it directly to your battery and you wire all of your accessories directly to it. It then Bluetooths either to an app on your phone or the Garmin Tread unit, which I will show you guys the little app on the Garmin Tread unit. That thing is amazing. Like, I'm super, super happy with that, and I still have 4 more circuits that I can use for future updates or upgrades. Over here, I mentioned in my build video as well, this is the brain and heart of the RedArc Manager 30 system. This system is what actually charges the secondary battery system. So coming from up front, there is, I want to say I ran a 4-gauge cable from the front battery system to the back. This system, and also there's also I think there's a load sensing wire. I can't remember if there's a load sensing wire or if there's it might automatically do it. I can't remember exactly. But what it does is it senses that the vehicle is currently on and that the alternator is putting out a charge. It then takes that power from the front only when the vehicle is on and charges the secondary battery system. So it has, I guess you want to call like an automatic charge sensing system, and it will charge the secondary battery system with 30 amps of power, which is pretty high. It is not the highest on the market. There are some 50 amp chargers out there, and even larger actually. But what's really cool about this unit is it looks like, like a car amplifier. You can see it's relatively small. I want to say it's about 18 inches long and only 3.5 inches deep. So it's really compact. But what's cool about this unit is it will manage your secondary battery system. It has this super trick screen that I showed you guys up here. So this screen up here, if this wants to focus, you get this screen. You can either get this one or you can actually get a nice colored display. This one was just more affordable and I really just needed to manage the battery, so I didn't really need all the features of the other one. But you get all these different screens. It's backlit. Currently right now it's just showing that there's no power coming in from solar, no power coming in from the vehicle, and no power coming in from a 110 outlet. It shows the current voltage of the vehicle itself, which is 12.7, which the vehicle is obviously not running, so that makes sense. This will actually show you a breakdown of power coming in and out. So it shows you how many amps would be going from the BMS towards your vehicle, and then also how much power is coming out of the vehicle, like how much amperage is being used. Next screen is kind of just current status, what mode you're in, the voltage of the actual battery system, the battery temperature, and then of course the day, the time, all that kind of stuff. You guys can see what day I'm doing this video. So yeah, it's a really nice system. You can set what home screen you want. I like just having this battery percentage screen, but you can mess with it. So a couple of the features that I just showed you guys in there is kind of the value of this system. So yes, it charges your car with 30 amps of power. It also has an MPPT solar charger built in. I can't remember how many watts you can do with this. It is a lot though. It's actually an amperage maximum. I want to say it's a 30 amp max rating. So pretty much depending on how you wire your solar panels, you have, I mean, you can wire multiple thousand watts of solar panels to this and it will manage them. It all depends on how you wire them and how much amperage you have. There's pros and cons to all of that. I don't want to go too much in the weeds on actual wiring, but pretty much you can wire any solar you want to this and it will automatically also use solar, and it has what's called a green priority. So it will try to use as much solar as possible without using the vehicle or a 110 outlet. That brings up 110 outlet. I mentioned in my other video, my build video, there is an outlet down here that you can plug it in. It's a little cable that plugs into the side right there. You can plug it into a 110 outlet. I've actually only used it like twice. Once when I first got the system, just to kind of charge everything up without having the vehicle run forever. And then second, I used it to, the vehicle was sitting for like 2 weeks one time, or maybe even 3 weeks. It sat for a while, so I just plugged it in just to keep everything topped off, fridge running, all that kind of stuff. But otherwise, I don't really use the 110, but it's nice that you have it. If you ever needed to, you could just run a 110 outlet to it and charge it. Great. So that's kind of the beauty of this unit. It does everything in one. It's super slick. It is a little expensive. I'll have links to all this stuff in the description for you guys. And yeah, that's really all I can say about it. It's great. You can actually use multiple control heads. So I believe you can do up to 2 of these control heads. So say you wanted one in the front of the vehicle and one in the back, you can do that. But super trick system. I think some other little details back here before I close this up. I did do on my fridge, so this fridge slide back here is, you probably saw another video, goes in and out. And the cable can actually kind of get pinched in there. So I used one of these like accordion snake things from like a robotics unit. And let me just actually show you. Let me see if I can get a video of it with it opening. Let's see, it's gonna be hard to do with one hand, but we'll try. Let's see if we can open this latch. And if you guys watch this, the cable just rolls out with the fridge. So otherwise it could fall down and get pinched. Now it just rolls with the fridge and never gets pinched. I've seen Australians use like a very similar system, but they use sometimes they use like springs and stuff to do it. I just found this was a super clean way. I think I just zip tied it down there. Just a super clean way to manage the wires. They're all tucked in. Nothing's gonna get pinched or you know, knocked around. That really wraps up this back battery system, guys. So let me fold up these seats if I can with one hand. Oh God, it's heavy. Let me get the other side. And then I'll show you the hidden fuse panel. So like I mentioned, everything that is not factory on this vehicle is ran by a hidden fuse panel. And before I show you guys the fuse panel, everything up front, so this radio, Midland radio, is powered by the secondary battery system. All of the accessories up here, so this is the Garmin Tread XL. This is on my wife's side, passenger princess side. She has a nice charger. This is a mag charger for an iPhone. Another one over there on my side. All the wires, the GoPro, the other GoPro over there, all that stuff is all wired by the secondary battery system. Other cool thing, which Let me see if I can get this with one hand for you guys. So in the center console, I actually have this little Prado organizer that I bought on Amazon. But underneath here, it's kind of where I have everything hidden. So if you can see down here, I have the Midland radio. On either side, I actually wired in, it's going to be a little hard to see, let me get this out of the way. I have 2 ports that I put in here. They're from Blue Seas. So they're Blue Sea 12 volt ports that are in here. And those run these little Best Tech charging systems. So all the USBs are plugged in here on either side. These things are insane. They run a bunch of power, and they just run all the time. You can see all the lights are on. That runs everything that's up front on the dash, all the USB cables, everything. The Midland radio, is the remote head is also mounted in here. That also has power ran to a fuse panel in the back, which again, I'll show you guys the fuse panel here in a second. I put like some of this foam from, you know, like a gun box or something down there just to kind of hold everything, nothing rattles. I have my camera battery charger in there. I plan to put some other stuff too, but I thought that was just a really slick way to kind of hide everything and still have enough power. So this little coin tray organizer thing goes in there. You can see my winch controller, all that kind of stuff just hides in there. My badge. It just hides everything, and you would never know that everything's charging in there. But if you need to charge some camera batteries or something, it's all hidden. It looks clean. I love that. Let's go to the back. This is like the creme de la creme here. So typically in the back seat, you have these little control system. This is for the rear seats. As you can see, oh my God, this thing's like so dirty and so scratched up, but we throw so much stuff back here. This is for the rear seat HVAC and all that stuff. Well, this panel that you see here pops right off, and I'm not gonna be able to get it back on, but I'll definitely be able to get it off. So let me try to do this with one hand, guys. I have hidden a Blue Seas panel behind this. Let me see if I can pop this off. As you can tell, Toyota builds their vehicles really well, and everything just kind of pops off nice and clean. This comes up. This is very hard to do with one hand. Hidden behind there, I have never seen anybody do this, but I want to say I have 8-gauge cable going to this from the secondary battery system. You can obviously see those 12 volt ports that go through there, and everything is wired and fused all properly hidden behind that control panel. So everything, like all those USB panels up there, the USB charging systems up there are all fused. Everything is wired up just like it would be from the factory. Everything has terminal ends. Everything is weather pack connected, or not weather pack. What do they call that? Weather strip adhesive stuff. God, I can't think. The heat shrink. Jesus. Heat shrink is all done on all the connectors. Everything is done super nice. Torqued, you know, everything. Literally, even the screws are torqued because that's just how I am. So yeah. Everything there is all wired up nice the way it should be. I feel like these are little details that separate, you know, like I don't want to say a cheap build, but like not a well thought out build from a really well thought out build. Other things I wanted to show you guys that I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this with one hand or not. Behind this back panel that opens up, you can kind of see I also wired up from Blue Seas. This originally was actually for my fridge, and I used to have, somebody made a wire harness on a GXOR page that plugs in to the power rear seats, and I used to have that running this. I've kept it there. It is still running the fridge, but it's on the secondary battery system, and it has a little switch and a gauge and then a 12 volt outlet. Honestly, it's completely unnecessary at this point. I'll put that back together later. But I just thought it was a nice clean spot to hide the wiring. Originally, like I said, it was tied into the factory battery, and I used to run a Blue Eddy system before I did all this. But as you guys can see, the back seats are all folded up. You still got legroom. I mean, I'm 6 foot, and this seat is actually back because the seat goes forward and back when you get in the car. So it's actually back as far as it goes, and there's like, I mean, I can sit back here as a 6 foot guy. So 205 amp hour battery system, all the stuff you just saw, and you still have use of the back seats if you wanted. Obviously, it's for our dogs right now, but that's that setup. You guys probably saw my build walk around video. I will post, I'm going to try to figure out how to do a link to the build video at the end here so you guys can tag over to that. But I will show you guys that did not see that video yet. Underneath the hood is the main battery system and some of the wiring for that. So up front, I'm just running your typical AGM battery. This is a 24F, which is a slightly larger battery than factory. Actually, I don't think you have to do anything. You literally just put it in the factory battery tray. The factory battery is too small for the tray. I don't know why they did that. But yeah, so a larger battery does fit. Everything you see wired up here is all heat shrink, connected nicely. On this left side, this massive cable you see goes to the winch. The rest of these though are either ARB compressor or the actual terminals for this Blue Sea front system. I can't remember what I have wiring off this, not much though. Honestly, that was kind of a useless thing up there, but it was a cool little tray and it was a setup that I liked, so I did it. More importantly though, the front switch pros is all terminal ended. Everything is connected. The switch pro is vertical, so you're not gonna have any water issues. And then of course you have the ARB compressor. Not really much to say about the front. Everything is kind of just hidden under there, but everything is done correctly. It's a little messy for sure. Like this cable drives me nuts. This is actually for that front air hookup on the bumper. I'm running the ARB twin air compressor, and I just have a nice little chuck up here. But this drives me nuts the way I had to run this. I could not get it to feed underneath this panel and plug into the compressor unit in the back. So it drives me nuts that it's up there, but that's just me. Honestly, it's closed. Nobody ever notices it. But I am a little OCD about some things. So guys, that's really a wrap up of the electrical system. Oh, I wanted to show you the app. So on the Garmin system, in the front here, it powers Bluetooth right to the switch. So hopefully this is not zoomed in too far. You just click the power switch and it comes up, and you can customize these buttons. There's a lot of features and little things you can do with this, but as you can see, that 12-volt fuse panel, if I click this button, you'll hear it click, maybe, and birds are chirping in the background. You can see it shows it's no longer charging. If I click the button, turn it back on, see how it shows it's charging now? Let's see if I can do that again. Off. And if it wants to focus, and back on. I don't know if it's focusing well. And the same thing in the fridge. I can turn on and off the fridge from here. I can also do this on an app. So super trick system. I like it a lot. You can see how much power is getting pulled. Obviously, like I said, the fridge compressor is not running right now. You can see the voltage of the system. It's just a great little system. I really like that power switch. Super trick. But yeah, guys, that's really it on the electrical system. I'd love to hear what you guys think. As you saw earlier in the video, I'm gonna try to get my face in front of the camera. I'm trying to figure out how I wanna do this in the future, how I wanna do these videos, how I wanna structure them. Everything's an experiment at this point, so any feedback you guys can give. What did you think of the electrical system? What did you think of how I mounted stuff? Have you seen this stuff before? Is this all brand new to you? Do you have questions on how to actually wire things? Like, do you know what series or parallel is? Do you want to know more about solar panels? Do you want to know? Just tell me everything. I would love to give some feedback. I love making these videos for you guys, especially that now I'm energized. You guys, I had 200 likes on my build video. I was expecting like 20. So you guys are awesome. I'm super stoked. Give me some feedback. Like I say every time, I'm a super small channel. If you guys could like, subscribe, share, means the world to me. I'll also put all links in the description, as many products as I can, and the websites I purchase stuff from. I'll also try to do some links to my build videos so you guys can go over there and maybe see some of the other details. Not sure how to do that all yet, but we'll make it work. In the meantime, stay adventurous. I'll see you guys next time. You're awesome. Peace.